Karmine Corp, the #1 seed, tops from Europe, taking the stage to try and hold serve against a mighty underdog.
It's going to be a tough task for James Cheese to be able to hang around against what seems like a European super team here with Itachi, Exotic, and Vatira. But, like you said, Stacks, we play the games for a reason. K-Corp versus James Cheese live.
And it's Vatira right out of the gate. And when you see him on the offensive end, you just kind of cringe if you're the other side, because you're just like, okay, great, we know how good a defender he is. He's also a very potent scorer. As he jumps in at midfield here, try to slow down James Cheese and keep the pressure on for K-Corp.
Right now, this kind of battle for possession in midfield's been nice. That's a good touch to off the sidewall there for Realize. Being able to get the follow-up, but you see Vatira on the ball, trying to get past two. Cut off to the side, Realize able to cut it out very cleanly, and then getting onto that back wall early, forcing Itachi to see if he can play out. Like the start here that we're seeing from James Cheese. K-Corp haven't necessarily put a big shot on until then. Exotic will find the back of the net and will find the first goal of the series.
And for James Cheese, you got to be thinking this is way too easy, right? Exotic just watches Realize start to come up, pops right over. The defense, the rest of the team not back in time. K-Corp strikes first, unassisted. Exotic closing in on the team lead in goals on the season as well. He's now one behind his teammate, Vatira. Again, we mentioned his defense. He can do it all.
Do it all. We're gonna have to see if maybe he's even needed to.
Right.
Because right now, this K-Corp squad, three-headed Hydra, the way that they've been just in control of, or just kind of like that threat when you think of all of them individually. As Vatira tries to get that one through on the back wall, and he's sent away. Exotic to go up into the air. A lot of boos, but Realize there to meet him. Defense going to be very important here from the James Cheese side. Whoever's back third, those initial plays with the ball, how they're able to move it upfield, could definitely kind of shake things. Right now, the passing and transition is looking really nice for James Cheese, but they haven't really set up a scoring opportunity just yet.
Almost 2 minutes gone by in this opening game. We're closing in on the end of round one. Only one more match remaining on either stream after this. Itachi going to work. He's got Vatira running underneath. Exotic waiting for Realize's effort. That's a good job by James Cheese, clearing the zone. Kami, an opportunity. Float over one, but there's Itachi there to save the day.
And that was the first shot registered there from James Cheese as well. Halfway through this game, approaching the halfway point, another shot there from Realize. We're seeing some concentrated efforts on offense. Kami puts a shot on two. Now things are starting to flow here, but not able to hold on to that pressure. Exotic will clear downfield, offering some space, and this looks a little uncomfortable on the back wall, but Virtuoso and Realize make it work. Infield pass back to Vatira. He's not going to be able to go for a shot. We'll play it high towards Exotic. He's looking for a play off the back wall. Itachi was looking for the double, but a little awkward on that initial jump. Ball will end up getting away from him. Now, again, I like what I saw from that drive there from James Cheese earlier on. That being said, we need to see a little bit more of that. They're kind of quiet here in the opening half of this game one.
Again, different opponents, but the leading offense in the world in James Cheese, averaging over 4 goals a game, going up against Europe's stingiest defense, or one of them, allowing only a goal and a half per game in a very difficult region as Vatira makes the goal line save in the air. Now Kami coming through, and he just couldn't get in front of Exotic. Virtuoso will slow him down. Little backflip from Itachi. Opportunity for Kami. Waterfall down, but nobody's home.
No one able to get the follow, and now it will be cleared away, but hold on, Stacks. It's only a 1-goal game here. Shot from Exotic is going to get blocked out, and James Cheese has looked threatening on the net. Very surprising. I mean, if there is any time for them to take a game off K-Corp, it would be in the first game of the series. They've got a minute and some change here to work with, but I will say, it doesn't really seem like this is as one-sided as a lot of us have thought going into it.
Right, the shot's 6-4, in fact, in favor of James Cheese, as this one lobbed downfield for Virtuoso to chase down, trying to force his way through the corner around Itachi. And a good win by Kami. He can't stay with it, though. Realize All the time in the world to play this, and the demolition might open up some space. Virtuoso, there's another one. And we know how good he is in that regard and how disruptive Virtuoso can be. 35 seconds remain.
Over.
He's running forward and almost tied the game, if not for the efforts of Exotic.
What a save there from Exotic to be able to cut that out. Could have been the play that equalized the game, but still, there is some more time here for James Cheese to work with. Oh, Cammy can't miss that though. Now it's gonna be trouble. Virtuoso had faith and realized to make the challenge, loses that one. No one able to follow up and get this ball cleared away. So the final few seconds will tick down. And K-Corp, they can definitely make a stand to shut this game down, but the ball's still in the air. They're looking for one more. Virtuoso plays it up high. Follow-up shot going in. It's chaos in front of the net, but it'll get cleared away. And Karmine Corp take game one, but not without a fight from James Cheese towards the end.
Boy, they held on to that game. And, you know, you look at both teams now. If you're a James Cheese fan, you go, okay, this is interesting. And if you're a Karmine Corp fan, you're going, this is interesting. And I don't know if they're necessarily comfortable with the way that game went, especially not how it ended.
Exactly. It really did seem like you could see again K-Corp after the starting half of that was all in their favor. You know, they were able to move the ball up the field really well. Exotic got that early goal. You're like, okay, this is what we're kind of expecting. We can see a little bit of the skill gap because Exotic didn't really have to work for that. Just honestly had a really nice solid touch. Realized went a bit too early and he got caught out by Exotic. But I don't know, it's like something clicked. Yep. And you could see it. James Cheese was just getting more and more confident on the offensive end. And that last play especially.
Yep.
I was a little nervous. It really looked like they had a chance. Virtuoso was going for some bumps in net. The defense was looking a little shaky on K-Corp. If a good shot comes through, this game could have still continued on. It'll be interesting to see what goes on when we load up Aquadome, as both teams will have time to talk things over.
Yeah, listen, if I put all my channel points on Karmine Corp before game one, I'm thinking, James Cheese got a little too close to that net for my liking.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, it was one mistake very early on in that game that ultimately proved to be James Cheese's undoing. But if that's the worst of their problems, James Cheese has something to look forward to, not just in this match, but maybe as this Swiss continues on throughout the week and into the weekend. So, again, James Cheese does drop game one. Karmine Corp takes it just one goal to separate these two teams. But again, all the shots, especially late in that game from James Cheese, take a lot to build on there going into game two on Aquadome.
Yeah, no matter which way you shake it, that game, even though James Cheese lost, the showing from them was very well done. They really did put on a show. The question is if they can continue that, if they can build up on that. As you know, K-Corp, they've had time to talk things over. They're going to change up that play style because they do not want the game to get that close again.
Well, Vatira's ranging back towards the backboard, and of course, masterfully done as always. But he gave that ball away to Realize, and Exotic had to make the save with Itachi kind of lurking around, only with 11 in the tank. And Virtuoso picking up that midfield boost, so the boost advantage remains for James Cheese. Early on in game two, Vatira with the clear, only as far as Virtuoso, but that does relieve a lot of that pressure, and it does let Karmine Corp move downfield. They can get boosted up, and now maybe they can put the clamps down on James Cheese.
Itachi, definitely a good touch out. Pass out between James Cheese to move the ball downfield. Virtuoso won't be able to do too much, and that's a big clear from Vatira. Realizes on the way back, trailing, and won't be able to block that. He hopes to go in. K-Corp get the first goal after catching James Cheese, dipping their hand, getting a little too much dip on the chip.
That Realize on his way back just could not catch up. So both these goals have actually technically gone in off of a James Cheese car. You had Virtuoso trying to scramble back in game one. Realize the last touch on his way back, trying to recover here in game two. Similar part of the game as well, as Exotic looks for a second, and that's going to be blocked away. Itachi leave it for Vatira. His shot denied by Realize, but they're not out of the woods just yet. That little bump by Vatira almost opened the way for Exotic. Here comes Itachi, went away from the defense, but it's high and wide.
Very awkward there from James Cheese, but able to make that defensive stop. K-Corp also allowing space. A demo comes through, but the shot is not going to even register there. James Cheese gonna have to start from scratch but they are still playing a pretty close game here against Karmine Corp. That's going to be a double demo, and Realize will be able to pick this ball up. No real struggle there for Vatira, and honestly, not too much of a real struggle for Karmine Corp so far in this game. James Cheese, they need to build on that consistent offense again, but they're stuck making some of these tough saves that we just saw.
Yeah, when you're making saves with your back to midfield, not really a good sign. Infield pass intended for Vatira, but well cleared away by Virtuoso. Now Kami lost control of this, so Vatira will take charge. Second touch to set it up. And right back to the back line of James Cheese as Karmine Corp continues to apply the pressure as they did for the better part of the early stage of game one. And they are not taking their foot off the gas now. Going to be on James Cheese to make their own opportunities.
Whoa.
As Kami had his shot blocked right at the post by Exotic.
It was a stretch of a save, and it was good enough. But still haven't really alleviated the pressure. Oh my goodness, Realize going off the ceiling for that one to get it to Virtuoso, but Vert wasn't really expecting it, or wasn't really prepared for it, I should say. And the ball ends up getting away from him. And now K-Corp moving up the field. Exotic trying to get past two. Virtuoso with definitely a strong touch there. The ball ends up towards Vatira. James Cheese have been able to kind of match the midfield pacing here from Karmine Corp. Just have not been able to really do too much on the offensive end. Virtuoso trying for the double. Vatira knocks it away.
Very fitting with these two teams meeting up in round one, because I think that we've got two of the players with the strongest drive to compete in the league. You've got, of course, Vatira, who just feels like he would do anything to win. He would give anything for the opportunity to raise that trophy. You see how heartbroken he was after falling short at the World Championship last season, as that's sent just a little bit wide. But on the other side, Realize, who has been such a grinder for so long and staying with it. Block made in front here, and that's popped away as well. I think you see a lot of players say they want to win a World Championship. Few demonstrate that as much as Vatira and Realize do.
That's right. Sometimes you can talk, you can yap as much as you want to. But if you cannot show that on the field, then it's all for naught. It's Vert so close, but that's been the story for James Cheese this series so far. So close to the back of the net, but either a mistouch or the defense from Karmine Corp just there in time to slow things down. Still a one-goal game as we are 40 seconds remaining. Looking like it could be two. No one there to stop the shot from Itachi. And he had to get a little bit of follow-up, but it goes in the back of the net. Either way, 35 seconds left, and K-Corp up by 2.
So everybody has a goal now for K-Corp in this series. All three unassisted solo efforts. Of course, James Cheese starting to press forward a little bit, maybe getting a little frustrated by not being able to put the ball in the net. Down to 30 seconds now as Realize is met by Vatira. Yet again at midfield. Here goes Kami. And Exotic is there to snuff out his drive. Virtuoso not able to get that second touch and maybe kind of ground pinch one forward. And with 15 seconds left, it would take a gargantuan effort, as if it didn't already, for James Cheese to get back into this one. Exotic making the save, falling away into his own net. And the final countdown here in game number 2 as Karmine Corp closes in now on match point. They're on the hill here in the opening round.
And it doesn't look like they're showing any signs of slowing down either. Able to sit back after that one. Smiles on Itachi's face as he actually got a very slow first goal in that game too. Get a little special stat pop up on the screen. Doesn't matter though, because K-Corp are definitely heating up, as that game was just, for James Cheese, you kind of don't want to think about those specifically. Even though they are playing up to speed, you can tell the difference in terms of mainly what happens when Karmine Corp are on offense. The shot percentage started to slow down for James Cheese. They led in shots in the last game. This one, not so much. I feel like that for now, or at this point, again, we talked about adjustments being made. Both teams definitely did show those adjustments. We didn't really see anyone get, I'd say, exposed from James Cheese in terms of shots or goals that were scored. But even then, K-Corp able to come out with this one, puts the series on match point. For James Cheese, Sax, it's looking like they're almost James Chalk.
I wondered how long that would take, Daz, to drop James Chalk. But hey, I'll tell you what, again, the pressure's been good at times, as you said, but not good enough, of course. Still kept scoreless here through 10 minutes of this series against the #1 team in Europe in Karmine Corp. And again, the #1 defense as well, which has been most important. And that goal and a half per game, actually a little bit less than that, is just going to keep going down as they continue on. Game 3 now, last chance for James Cheese to find some offense against this K-Corp squad. What will change for JC here as Virtuoso will range back, and that corner boost didn't spawn for him. That's going to be trouble for James Cheese as here comes Karmine Corp again. 3 open nets for K-Corp. Yeah. As their 3 goals in this series. Itachi denied by Realize. So at least when James Cheese is in position, they're not letting Karmine Corp outplay them or outwit them, but Karmine Corp are still finding gaps in the defense here as Vatira got one through. Oh! Corner. They finally had a hand up, and Vatira ignored it.
Itachi delivered this on a platter. Saw Cammy. See you later. Vatira's putting it to the top right. And we've been wanting to see that from K-Corp all series long. What a goal.
There are some out there that will still find ways to say he might not be the best player in the world. Sure, you find somebody better. Here goes Exotic. Trying to work against Kami. Got him in the air, got around him, and there's Realized to back him up. That got away from Itachi, and this will go over Vatira. He's in an awkward spot. The pass not on target. Kami double tap to set up, and Exotic there just ahead of Virtuoso. Here comes
another one.
K-Corp again. Far down banger, and Exotic makes it 2-0.
I'd say it's a counterattack, but it didn't really feel like it was just Exotic doing it all by himself. Plays it off the sidewall, off the clean beat, and beautiful turn into putting that shot on. James Cheese are getting caught off guard. You could tell maybe it was just a case of, first match of the major for Karmine Corp, because this is the team that we have been looking for the entire time. A solid start, and they are literally playing through James Cheese.
I mean, it really does feel like now, early on here in Game 3, that the playtime is over and the fun police have arrived in the form of Karmine Corp. So that's a good win by Virtuoso, and he just couldn't get up in time to get over that shot. And here goes Itachi. He's got Vatira downfield, and that is sent away. Vatira, the decoy there, almost beat the James Cheese defense. As here goes K-Corp again. Just hemmed in their own zone for a moment before they finally break out.
Good double command. Vatira still has possession. Good read on that back wall.
I just don't think they care at that point.
It does seem like that when you see the confidence come out from Karmine Corp, just going for things that you haven't seen all series long, sometimes a little fake to see if they can throw things off. I think they want to get in the heads of James Cheese and try to just take them out the game. Really run up the score line, but James Cheese is holding on. They stopped the bleeding, so to speak, but they've got half a game in this series, and we haven't seen them score, I believe.
Nope.
They have not scored this series at all, so they got to do something they haven't done all major, which, round 1.
Sure. You are technically correct, and that's the only kind of correct that matters. K-Corp going for the ever-rare score line of 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, perhaps. With a couple minutes remaining here, they've come close to that third goal. Opportunity here, sent away by Exotic. Cheeky touch there. And
you just don't want to see him get perfect stuff.
Right.
That's really just.
Well, and that was the question, right, with this James Cheese squad. When Virtuoso and Kami announced that they were going to go to the APAC region and team up with Realize, how would this team represent the APAC region? Because it almost felt like a given that this would be the team we saw at the major. Sure enough, the prophecy fulfilled itself as Itachi jumps in here and drives that to the corner. And I got to say, they have by no means been embarrassed here on the pitch by Vatira and Karmine Corp. They've been very competitive, and I think there's a lot to look forward to as this tournament rolls on. And they're still in this game, technically, as Exotic pops one high, and K-Corp does have a vast majority of possession here with time winding down.
Yeah, you're right. This one definitely is one of the more closer perfect sweeps I've seen in my career. That being said, when you see this team come in from the APAC region, you wonder what their style kind of looks like. And even though Karmine Corp, which is EU's #1 seed, has been playing a phenomenal game and has looked in control, so to speak, even if it has been 1 or 2 goal games, it's the literal fact that they are 1 or 2 goal games that puts a question mark on how James Cheese is going to do against the rest of the world as, you know, the Swiss rounds continue. Sure, it does look like they may lose this game. There's 15 seconds left. They're down by 2. They haven't scored all series long, but it's just the fact of how close they have been playing up here against Karmine Corp, as the blue wall has stood tall and is going to continue to do so, because round 1 belongs to them. Unless we see a goal here, it's looking like it's going to be a perfect sweep. Ball is going to hit the ground. Karmine Corp is going to take the series 3-0.
1-0, 2-0, 2-0. Just like that, Karmine Corp pitches a shutout in round 1. And James Cheese will drop down to that 0-1 bracket. They'll